Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's rock and roll. Let's fucking do this. Jeremy Sell, can you do everyone a favor and stop acting like being a neo-Nazi is somehow some sort of accomplishment? Anyone can say dumb shit for attention. It doesn't mean that you're interesting. It just means you're sad. I stand by everything I said in the Ryloff videos. Yeah, you probably don't want to open with that. I don't regret anything. So you don't regret associating with a dog-raping fucking pervert who was 21 at the time, who was going around sending pictures of his wang to people on Twitter who he was well aware were minors, as well as trying to groom them on Roblox. Okay. It's good to know that you have no ability whatsoever to consider whether or not your actions were nothing but negative. I committed no crime. Well, technically it did, because even if you yourself aren't necessarily the one doing it, you're still aiding and abetting Andy when he was alive, because you were acting like his fluffer the entire time without telling him, hey, stop this shit, it's not cool. Because you basically just sat there blowing him instead of trying to sit there and say, you know what, maybe I shouldn't be friends with someone who's only going to drag me into bullshit. Another thing I don't understand, you have these dumbass neo-Nazi ideals about some sort of bullshit Aryan supremacy, but at the same time you associate it with someone who is a race that you are openly, like you are basically taught to decry and hate. So, tell me, did you decide to befriend him because he was the only person that would tolerate you, or did you befriend him because, for once, you managed to put your racism down? I'm genuinely curious. And even if I did, there should be no laws against freedom of speech. There's a difference between simply saying, I think you're an asshole, and then there's you openly threatening people. Like when you threaten to kill people, when you threaten to commit SA against people, freedom of speech doesn't protect that because you are actually directly threatening violence or you are directly intending on trying to influence people to commit violence. I mean, here's the thing. I'm an absolutionist when it comes to free speech, and even I acknowledge there are certain moments where you should not be saying shit. And it's not a matter of, well, you can't say that because X, Y, and Z. No, like, you shouldn't say that because it's going to mean legal redress for you. That's why. It's not a matter of you shouldn't be allowed to say it. It's a matter of the fact that if you do say that, all you're going to do is bring a bunch of legal bullshit to your own front door, which isn't going to be worth the trouble you get into. Who cares if a bunch of girls got uncomfortable and scared? They honestly deserved it. They are either already Chad only one. They will become Chad only later on. So basically you're saying anyone that doesn't date the sad little fuck up who's constantly taking their problems out on the world around them is just a Stacy in your mind, if we're going to use incel terminology here. As like all the way back in like circa 2007. I want to be loved and accepted despite my looks and social awkwardness, but that won't happen because we live in a gynocentric and feminist society. No. It's the fact is that your views and opinions are fucking abhorrent. And then you go around spouting them off like you come off like some sort of genius by saying genuinely disgusting and objectionable shit. Seriously. When you go around advocating for grape, and you start saying that people deserve to be graped because they don't like you, or you're gonna grape somebody because you're pissed off with them, or their siblings, or their family members, do you think women are gonna look at that and think, yes, this is the person who I want to spend time with and get to know? No, they're gonna look at you like you're fucking crazy, and they're gonna walk away from you. That's not a feminist take. That's a take that anyone with a brain makes, like, dude, this guy's kind of fucked up, I don't want to be around him. And then they walk away. It would be the same thing if I said it, or if Steve said it, or if Tom said it, or if Anthony Hunter said it, or if anyone said it. Anyone at all that makes statements like that is going to look fucking crazy. They are going to drive people away with those kinds of fucking actions and opinions being spouted out of their assholes. It doesn't even matter if you believe in it yourself. If you say it out loud, even if you think you're kidding, other people are going to look at you and say, well, fuck you, I don't want to be around you. And here's the thing, it's not a gynocentric feminist society. Society isn't feminist. If you look at it, society tries to be relatively egalitarian in most aspects. Now, if you want to argue about certain things in the legal system in regards to how female offenders get off light compared to a male offender when they sexually offend on a man or a young boy, yeah, we could argue that. You could definitely argue that there needs to be some sort of measure to rectify these imbalances in the court systems. If you want to actually say the court system needs to be more fair and balanced and less aimed towards favoring the mother in paternity court and in custody battles, and needs to be a little bit more willing to split the difference evenly. I agree. But you're not complaining about issues that actually fucking affect people. You're complaining about issues that affect such a small group of people that it's almost irrelevant. And keep in mind, the only reason a lot of these people turn out like you is because they walk into these circles where they're fed bullshit fucking rhetoric to hate people. Because, well, they don't get laid, so they gotta hate the women's. Or they can say, you know what, maybe I'm just not acting in an appropriate manner. Maybe I'm handling myself in like a really shitty way that turns people away from me. Maybe I say shit or do shit that people don't find very helpful in regards to how I want to appear approachable and sociable to them. Maybe these pieces of your life, these things that you do, online or offline, may end up being scaring girls and women away from you because they see you as the crazy guy that's like off mumbling into himself in the fucking corner. Instead of being the shy guy that just doesn't know what to say to women, you come off like the crazy guy that's gonna shoot up a school. And I'm not saying that to be derogatory. I'm really saying that if you have opinions where you go around and advocate for mass homicides because of someone's gender, then you are no better than the people that openly do it, because you are more or less trying to propagate, spread, and more or less embolden people to do such things. How can you deny the black pill? Well, it's quite simple. Black pill is mainly done for people that have essentially given up without even trying. Usually what happens when someone becomes black pill is because they let other people talk them into being a nihilistic douche who only sees the negative in everything. It's one thing if you want to see the glass as half empty or half full. It's another thing, however, when you just dump the glass out in front of yourself and then say, see, my glass is empty, because you dumped it out. You dumped it out. You did a bunch of awful shit that only does damage to the way people will view you. Of course it's not going to look good for you in the dating pool. It's almost 2025. It isn't that hard to understand that women desire more attractive guys, and normies in general will harass unattractive and lonely males. No. People like you get criticized and mocked for blaming other people for your problems instead of resorting to going to therapy to try to improve your self-esteem and trying to talk to people who may be able to get you out of that fucking pit that you dug for yourself. But people like you and Marshall Mathers, for example, don't do that. Like you and Marshall are excellent examples of what happens when someone lets other people's opinions poison their fucking mind and poison their outlook on the world around them, so they just become a fucked up, awful asshole who decides that the only way to get attention in life is to be as shitty as humanly possible and then demand people see the good side of being shitty. There is no upside to being someone who openly propagates bullshit ideologies where you basically attack people for no fucking reason and then read at the top of your fucking lungs whenever someone just looks at you and says your ideas are a load of shit. Seriously. If you look at the statistics regarding depression in incel circles, the reason that they're so exceptionally high is because instead of encouraging each other, they're not lifting each other up. They're only helping each other tear each other and themselves further down. There's a reason that all these incel communities online tear into each other and they attack each other is because they get sick of blaming other people outside of their communities for their problems. So they then turn their gaze inward and attack other people, but they never once sit down and say, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I need to work on myself. Maybe I need to try to be a better person. Speaking as someone who's relatively on the average side of looks, the reason I got a relationship, the reason I ended up having a relationship and still have one now, is because I was willing to put my balls on the chopping block and just ask. It's better to ask and be rejected and build up your confidence than it is to just not do it and then blame other people that you don't do it. I mean, there are therapies that you can actually do that, like limited exposure therapies, for example, for men with social anxiety, that let them slowly build up confidence to approach women or other men. There are alternatives to being an angry, bitter cunt on the internet. There are answers. But people like you don't believe in those answers because you don't believe in things like therapy and science. You literally believe the Earth is 6,000 years old and was made by a giant invisible sky wizard because a book told you. So obviously you're not going to be interested in the scientific or psychological fucking solution because you're too busy thinking that your eight ball of a god is going to drop a woman onto your dick if you cry hard enough about it. If you want to be better, be better. Try. Put the effort forward to be better. If you want to be loved and accepted, then give people a reason to accept you. Show them that you can be a better person. Instead of, society bad, and then you wonder why no one can fucking stand you. Because you come off like a whiny cunt. You don't come off like the person that's like, look, I got some problems. I want to work through them, but I don't know who to reach to. Who should I reach to? At least then, you're asking people for guidance. You're asking people for some kind of assistance. You are apparently, if you're in that situation, looking for help. That is not the same thing as blaming everyone else for your fuck-ups and then saying everyone else is an asshole for pointing them out. The amount of anti-Andrew Velasco people in the comments just proves my point further. He was innocent whether you realize it or not. No, he wasn't. He openly documented himself doing all that shit. That's like you going up to people that were protesting Jodi Arias and saying that Jodi Arias was innocent when she literally had all those post-mortem photographs proving that she had stabbed and shot Travis after she had shot him once in the head. Seriously, when you have live stream after live stream and live stream after video after video after video of you admitting to doing something, you're not innocent just because you're dead. It just means that you have a legacy that now has outlived you of being a sack of shit. Or not. Part of the reason people believe, I believe people hated on him, and so heavily, and now even still, is because of the disability and he had in his looks. No. It's because he was openly bragging about abusing and torturing his dog and using his dog like a fucking cum rag and a fleshlight. That is why people hated him. Because he preyed upon one of the most vulnerable creatures in his household and even admitted to jerking off in front of, like, with his own siblings in the room. Even going so far as to send people on Twitter pictures of his cock who he was well aware of underage. Granted, if you look at Andrew's birth date and his time of death on his headstone, he's 21. He's not 16. He's 21. Even if he died at 21, that means that the things he had done prior, 3 years, were from him being an adult all the way to the age of 20. So yeah, he did some of those things during his time as an adult. Ergo, he would be charged as an adult. He doesn't get to plead youthful ignorance in that situation. Fuck you. I want to prove my innocence, and I want to be in a better position than I am right now. Then get off the fucking internet and talk to a therapist. That's the best way to improve your life for real. Instead of this dumb faggoty shit that you pull, where you constantly scream about people not liking you. You're not helping yourself when you deny someone else's wrongdoings and then screech at people for not agreeing with you, when literally all of your opinions are based entirely upon people who are from the same fucking screeching echo chamber of retards that you come from. Seriously. There are better ways to pursue a better place in life than doing this shit. But Tom is writing false police reports. It's not a false police report just because you personally disagree with it. We've had the same argument with the dumbass Gill man. And he possibly could already be making false police reports. There's 4 people who decided to subscribe to me. Who knows? They could be feds that Tom sent to my channel to keep tabs on me. I'm being persecuted for no reason. No, you're being criticized and admonished for doing awful things and then trying to blame the people you do them to. At what point in time do you just look at yourself and think, maybe, just maybe, if I'd not be a dumbass fucking whiny malignant cunt to everyone, maybe, just maybe, my life would improve. Maybe if I stopped looking for reasons to be a dipshit edgelord for attention, my life would get better. Seriously, you're doing the kind of shit that people do when they just have nothing else to do with their lives, so you just look for attention. You're like Violent Acres if Violent Acres was a dipshit neo-Nazi teenager who barely even got through middle school. I'm just saying, you are not helping your case. You're not. Posts like this don't help bolster your credibility as someone that was wrongfully believed to be guilty of an action. All they end up doing is proving to you and everyone else around you like to prove to everyone else around you and others, that you are someone who's only concerned with controlling the narrative and not with actually trying to be a better person. That's all you're doing. You're whining and bitching because people don't agree with you, but you're not actually trying to figure out why people don't agree. Because you're of the mindset that whatever someone else does deserves to be disagreed with or bitched about, but not why they're doing it.